Hello. We are One Direction.
Welcome to Whole Lotta History, a One Direction deep dive podcast hosted by me, Rayna Darci. This podcast is not for the casual One Direction fan. Whole Lotta History will be diving deep into the lives and careers of the One Direction boys. So fellow Directioners, grab your One Direction cardboard cutouts, a carrot, and a potato, and let's get right into it. I feel like an appropriate place to start on this podcast is the very beginning, 2010 on the X Factor UK. If you're a fan, you may not need me to explain, but Harry, Niall, Louis, Liam, and Zayn came from across the UK to audition for the talent show. The amount of circumstances that brought the boys together is kind of crazy. Harry was just old enough to audition for the show. His birthday was only a few days before his audition date. Zayn Malik didn't want to go to the audition because he had to wake up super early in the morning, but thankfully his mom dragged him out of bed. Imagine his life if he hadn't got out of bed that day. And Liam Payne had been on the show previously, 2 years before in 2008. Unfortunately, Simon Cowell sent him home saying that he thought that Liam needed to mature more in his talents and maybe come back in a couple years. And Liam definitely showed them who was boss when he was in there. Liam's audition was arguably the best out of all of them. Honestly, I don't really see what the judges heard in those boys. Obviously, I love them all to absolute death. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about them right now, and this podcast wouldn't exist. But if we're all being completely honest, all of their auditions were horrendous. I mean, did you see Louis Tomlinson's audition? Here's a quick clip of that.
Oh, it's what you do to me. Oh, it's what you do to me. What you do to me.
I mean, what did they hear that I'm not hearing? Although their auditions were really bad, they happened to get through to the next round. The boys only made it through the first boot camp round until they were all going to be let go. But that's not where their story ended, obviously. They got called back to the stage by name and were told that they would be in a boy band. Now, a lot of people want to give Simon Cowell credit because he signed them to his management, but in reality, it was Nicole Scherzinger who actually put all of their pictures together and said, "Wow, they would be a really cute little boy band." And that's how they actually were formed. Simon Cowell had nothing to do with it. He just agreed with her. I don't know if you can tell by my tone, but I do not like Simon Cowell in the slightest. But my hatred for Simon Cowell can wait for another day. And so the band One Direction was officially formed on July 23rd, 2010. The time of the formation is a little bit debated. Most sites will tell you that it's 8:22 p.m., but in reality, it's closer to around 8 p.m. Because 2 years ago, during the 10 years of One Direction celebration on Twitter, Liam Payne posted a screenshot of one of his text messages he sent to his parents saying, "I'm in a boy band," and it was sent at 8:09 p.m. So it's a bit up for debate. One of the most iconic things that came out of the One Direction time on the X Factor was not only them winning third place in the contest, but it was the video diaries that the band started during their free time in a stairwell of the X Factor studio. The 10-video series became iconic in the fandom. They answered questions that were sent in by the fans for the fans, and we ate that up. There were very many inside jokes that were sparked in the fandom by these video diaries, many of which were Louis Tomlinson just being a bit rowdy. Despite being the oldest, he was the crazy one, or also known as the leader. See, the boys had assigned themselves roles in the boy band. Louis was the leader, Harry was the flirt, Zayn was vain, Niall was the funny one, and Liam was the smart one. Now I have to address it. The name of the band, One Direction. It's been debated for many years who actually came up with the name, but I think the boys kind of settled on it being Harry. After the five were united as a band, they spent 2 weeks at Harry's dad's cottage, getting to know each other, playing music, and of course, the topic of a band name came up. And I guess Harry just threw out One Direction and it kind of stuck from there. But yeah, I think that's everything I need to cover in the first episode. It's a good basis to start at, you know? Make sure to catch the next episode of Whole Lotta History, where I'm going to unpack some of the relationships within the band.